So chat, today we're gonna be doing a little review of DAWes versus Zane, because I've been wanting to check out one of his matches so I could give him some advice on how to approach the modern meta. And I'm not saying that I'm completely up to date with the modern meta because I haven't been practicing, but I'm still modern enough and I still know a lot about Samus that Wes might not, so I could definitely help him and help him change his approach on how he's playing. Now, Roy, not the best example. Not the best matchup for him to learn from or for me to give advice on, but it's still Zane. And he's still going to be doing a lot of really high-level good stuff that applies to the modern meta, and then I could come up with answers for Wes and say what he's done wrong, what he's done well. Okay, this is where they start the set, and I'm pretty sure it was a 2-0. And I'm pretty sure it wasn't very pretty. But so there's going to be a lot to suggest and learn from here. Off rip! I don't like it! I don't like it. Yes, this will be on YouTube. Say hi, subscribe, all that shit. Okay, so I think one of the most important aspects of play that I think Wes is lacking, and I say this with love because I really appreciate that Wes is working on improving his game and adjusting to the modern meta. But one of the things I noticed when I watch him play is that he does not think as carefully about positioning as he should. I wouldn't say it's a development of the modern meta, but it's just something that good players have to have down, and basically the modern meta has not changed the value of good positioning. It hasn't. Like, positioning is going to forever be important, and Wes has not developed that from what I've seen of his matches, okay? And one example of that is here, where Zane has kind of overcommitted to an edge guard, and Wes managed to jump over and get a back air. And the way he backs up here is okay initially with the missile, but at this point is when Wes needs to start fighting back. But once Wes has taken center, he needs to keep it. He needs to fight for it. He's earned it because he's got no space behind him. The Roy has no space behind him. So I think he should stay in the pocket and start throwing some tilts or keeping Zane there. Samus could play at a distance. And if you're in a position where the Roy literally has no space to move behind him, then you are at a huge advantage and you could play to your strengths as Samus using your distance, whereas Zane cannot do the same. So I think the missile's fine, right? You could assume that the Roy might try approaching on the ground. Once he realizes that Zane instead took to the air, to the platform, then, once again, you're at an advantage. Now, they're kind of stuck on a platform with a limited set of moves that actually hit you, whereas you're on the ground and you have everything to your disposal. Here's what I really didn't like, is that once Wes had center stage, he instead gave him the whole stage by backing up and shooting another missile. There was no need for that. And there are a ton of things that you could do at the center stage. It's not a guaranteed win, right? This game is complicated. Position isn't everything. But when you have a position like this, you have the option of crouch canceling. You have the option of challenging the Roy in the air with your forward air. It's going to beat most of his aerial approaches. You're giving Roy more space to work with to get inside. For what? To get a missile off? That doesn't help you. A missile, in my mind, when you shoot a missile, it grants you the ability to move in. Now, that gets a little more complicated because Zane's just absolutely broken with power shields. But what I don't like is that this missile didn't need to exist to begin with. This giving up of space is huge. And it's a thing that I feel like Wes has struggled with, is understanding the importance of gaining position and maintaining it. Because what this does is he already gave up all this space. Now he's on the defensive. He didn't need to give up the space. And now Zane's doing his thing. He's getting in, right? That's all Zane ever wanted, was to get in. Zane messes up and he overcommits on attacking Wes, right? He dash dances, right? He misses the forward air and he goes behind. All right, Mr. Wes loves his bombs, and here's a bomb that's a good bomb and allows you to, instead of running away, you turn around, use that bomb to your advantage, and you start attacking Zane. He's in a corner with his back to you. Easily one of the most advantageous positions you could ever have against any character is having their back while they're on a corner. But what Wes does is instead gives them all the space back. He says, here, go ahead and get back to the center stage. Have exactly what you want, Zane. That's a big problem. And that's going to hurt you. Backing up over here does nothing. And now, you see what I'm saying? Who's at a disadvantage here, chat? I'm talking about positioning. When Wes ends up on the platform and Zane takes center stage, Who's at the advantage here? It is Zane. Yes, good job, class. Yeah, it's Zane. But the point is that Zane understands he's at an advantage. He's not going to give up this space. He might bait him into thinking he gave up the space, but he's not going to give it up. What's the first thing Zane does? He moves forward. He shields just in case he needs to, because he knows that the nair is a possibility off the platform. Once he sees the miss, boom, he's already on it. He's already, look, center stage, lost it. Where does he throw him? Away from center. Always controlling center. Let me point something out that has been going on throughout the match. This is not like a terrible thing. It just tends to be a thing that some players do when they're not exactly sure how to open someone up. They do heavy commitment moves. Even I do this when I'm not like playing well, when I feel off, right? It's pretty much desperation. There is no reason that a forward smash or a down smash or even a down tilt should be the approach unless you are confident that you have the opening, that it is a punish, or it's based on some kind of conditioned read that you've come up with. And even then, it better pay off pretty well. You don't do it at 0% just to get 15. You do it at like 100 something because you think you're going to get the KO off of it. You can see here, he approaches with a missile and he doesn't worry about the power shield because he is invincible, right? That's fine. That's totally smart. Problem is coming in and down smashing off rip. There's been no setup for it. No conditioning even for Zane to fall for something like this. So far, Wes has not presented any kind of threat to Zane's shielding. So Zane does not have to respect his approach while he's shielding. Zane can stay in shield at this point in the game. You have to be aware of that. And the moment you become aware of that is the very first time he shields an attack. You have to just log that in your brain and understand I have yet to present a threat to his shield. So if I want to change that throughout the game, it's something I have to keep in mind. Do you see how Zane fights out of the corner? He's earning his space back. Do you see what I'm saying? He earns it back step by step. He gets it and he starts going for quick moves, not a forward smash, nothing high risk. And you know why you caught him there, Wes? How many tilts has he seen from you this entire game? 0. You have not forward tilted yet. By the way, I've been keeping track. 2 stocks of the game, and you have not used one of Samus's most premium spacing tools. You tilt someone's shield, they're the ones in shield stun, and you're not really lagging that much, and you get space with it. So, you caught him. You caught him trying to run away. Good. All right, catching on to the power shields. Then you caught him slipping there. That's what I wanted to point out. Zane nods his head because he finally got. And now his strategy has been challenged. So now Zane has to come up with something else. For the next time, at least. Another committal move. Ah, okay. I don't mind the idea. Zane too fast for that. Very few jabs. Very few, like, movement-based approaches where you're kind of taking space by walking forward. Or wave dashing and then holding position. It's more that, from what I'm seeing in the neutral, a lot of approaches, and a lot of those approaches turn into some kind of committal move where Zane is just not going to fall for it. So watch the next one. Your neutral is what needs work. And neutral, as I define it, I have a video on it. Basically, it's just your knowledge of your move set, the percentage they're at, the percentage you're at. What are your options based on that? So your entire move set, part 1. Part 2 is your opponent's entire moveset. Same thing, hitboxes, hurtboxes, frame data, etc. Finally, number 3, the third part of neutral is your position relative to number 1 and number 2. When you understand those things and put them all together, that's when you develop a great neutral. Every single move in this game requires proper application. What I understand, though, is that Roy's a very rare character, but still, there should be a baseline level of approach where you learn what works best against Roy as the match goes on. And if not, at least you're playing it solidly enough where you can make decisions as the game goes on and possibly win, even if you're lacking knowledge. Okay. That just doesn't work, but that might have been a mistake. Grabs at a shield in general, you'd have to check the frame data, but most of the time they don't work. I'm just going to be nitpicky about this, and it's not even that bad. It just kind of helps explain a point. When you shield here, the moment you see Zane jump, you now have the option to wave dash back and then walk forward with more control of the position. But there is no reason to stay in shield. Knowledge of neutral should tell you that there is no world where Zane has anything to fuck you over with in this position. Nothing. So to stay in shield is to allow him the opportunity to reposition and then gain those types of advantages that he's looking for. But because you stayed defensive in this position, and again, it's just a shield and people do this all the time. I'm not even saying that Wes is making a huge mistake by doing this. I'm just trying to illustrate the point. There should have been an understanding that Zane's position and fake attack was just fake news. It wasn't actually going to do anything until you let him in close by staying in your shield. Look how far he runs, man. That's the problem. Wes, I remember specifically you would say shit about my Samus saying I stay on the ground too much. But let me tell you, this is exactly why I stay on the ground. Because Samus sucks in the air. Samus is more of a character that responds in the air. But Samus should rarely ever approach. And in this position, where Zane is not lagging and is running away by dashing away, the approach needs to be on the ground. Getting a missile out to start the attack? Okay, fine. Okay, so remember what I said that Zane was going to log that moment where you caught him slipping by calling out the power shielded missile and then going up top to hit him? Zane already, literally the second attempt, the very next time you tried it, he's already ready for the aerial. And he immediately just covers it by jumping. First of all, he also reacted and realized that he wasn't going to be able to power shield the missile. So he just crouched it, waited, and then punished the aerial. Okay. I like this. I like this. Nice. I like the way you're playing with the projectiles here. Nice. That probably was a mistake. At that point, you should be moving forward, right? Once you land the missile, you should be moving forward. Unless they literally can't do anything about missiles, which clearly they can. I'm playing it slightly slow, so this isn't the normal gameplay. This is looking like Ultimate now. Nah, probably more like Brawl. I think this is more like Brawl. Okay. I like it. Yes. There you go. Missiles are just meant to provide cover fire so you can move in. You shoot a missile, you take some space, you tilt his shield, and then you start gaining some space back instead of being in the corner. That's good. That's dope. Yes. 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 More of that. More of that, Wes. More of that. Definitely something that I think you should be working on is aerial interrupting off the ledge, and I'm not the best at it. Don't get me wrong, but wave dashing from ledge into the stage is not the greatest with Samus, but I personally prefer aerial interrupting onto the stage, and if I have the ability to punish them with my invincibility, then I'll do it. But if I don't, then I at the very least get back on the stage, and then I could slowly work my way back to center using my knowledge of neutral. Oh, one thing I wanted to say, it might have been a practice thing or a controller thing. Shield drops need to 100% be a part of your game. I didn't really see shield drops. Like, that was a good moment for shield drops. As soon as he's going to the air, you need to be able to shield drop and then forward air, right? Keep him on the platform while you go down. Because that costs you right there. He says, don't test me, but you can keep testing him with the projectiles. Test his power shielding. Okay. All right. The grabs are starting to pay off, right? Keeping him honest with the shielding now, so that's good. Nice. Beautiful, beautiful. You guys want to see a difference here? So after this punish, right, he gets him over there. Let's see what it says. So Wes crosses him up. He made a mistake there, but luckily didn't get too punished for it. He manages to take center, and then a classic way that Samus does it is, you know, dropping with the back air. Forces them to get defensive or get hit, which then means you land safe. The difference here. Normally, I might judge. Normally, I might be like, why are you giving up center? Because here, he goes away, right? He goes to a platform. That was a mistake. I doubt that he was just trying to down air an empty platform, right? But the reason I'm not mad that he kind of got away from the center, I wouldn't have done it with jumping. I would have, like, wave dash away, maybe. The reason I don't mind here is because this is a different position. This is an entirely different position from other situations, where Wes is the one at 164% and Zane is only at 10. That means even though Wes does have center stage and he has some sort of positional advantage, the details have changed. Where a lot of Wes's, you know, moveset and the advantages that it provides don't exist while he's at 164% and Zane's only at 10. Most of the time, just in a general sense, what that means is that he could hit you with anything and you could die, and you could hit him with anything and he'll probably go nowhere. This is that weird part of the game where the rules change and you're pretty much going for nickeling, diming damage. You're going for hit and run damage and you're getting the fuck out of there, right? You get your tilt, you get away. You get your tilt, you get away. You get your missile, you get away. Until Zane starts hitting that 30 to 40% where you can do some damage off of getting an open. Then you start getting in there. You start getting more aggressive, even though you're at 164%, right? So I'm not even judging the fact that West gave up center stage here, because this is the right thing to do at this percentage difference. Okay. Yep, a shield drop there would have been great. But yeah, you're fighting back now. You're holding position, right? That's what you need, right? It's the decisions I want to focus on rather than the technical mistakes. Okay. Yes, okay. You see that head nod from Zane? You called out his movement, his dash away movement, by overextending and then doing the down smash. You see, that down smash was a conditioned down smash, and that's why it worked. You knew that when you would approach, he would dash away until you overcommitted, and then he would grab you, right? But this time, you kept going further. You kept moving more forward. I think it's very clear how much better you're going to be once you correct these technical errors, right? One thing I also noticed, in a technical sense, is that you don't fast fall your wave dashes to ledge. Or at least you didn't in certain circumstances. I don't know if you... Like the one you got caught for, you didn't. You didn't fast fall. That's for sure. Like this, when you got him off, I like the missile. I like the waiting. That was not fast fall. That was not fast fall. That was just a regular wave land. Wave dash to ledge. See, that one was not fast fall, right? I was watching it live and I started saying, I don't know if he knows how to fast fall his wave dashes to ledge. I honestly didn't learn it until 15, which is really sad. I think it was Joey who discovered it. He's like, wait, Hugo, are you not fast falling your wave dashes to ledge? I was like, no, I guess not. I never thought about it. He's like, are you f***ing kidding me? And ever since then, that's the only thing I do. Okay. So that sends you off. Do not ever do this again, Wes. Okay, I'm gonna yell that at the top of my lungs. Do not ever think that this is a good idea. Air dodge into bomb with grapple, I hate it. I stopped doing it in 2004 for reasons. Husband forward smashed the shit out of me while I was trying it, and then he says, don't ever do that again. And I listened. It's too committal. Okay. See, the bombs are good there. Bombs are good there. Good to get out of the way. Here, not so much. I think here I started noticing that they were being done a little. Sometimes you just need to be comfortable with your own drift and the aerials that you have rather than you know, needing the bomb drift to get out of the way. Because even while you're in the air in a defensive position, you have an area of threat. You can use that to your advantage and just simply drift and aerial. Don't ever do that again either, Wes. God damn it. At best, you get an extender, and then you have to be defensive because you still jumped for no reason. In a position where you're way too close to your opponent. I've already talked about why I don't like extended. That costs you a positional advantage because, by the way, you had him in the corner. And you sacrificed that positional advantage to go for an extender, which I vehemently disagree with as an option. But yeah, there were moments where you were definitely doing things correctly, but I think a big part of your gameplay, and that's just in general versus throughout all matchups, is your neutral and how to work on improving your neutral. And that comes with better positional play. That means not sacrificing good positions for the sake of certain strategies that I don't agree with, like extender or like air dodging into grapple, etc., or bombing. It also comes down to knowing when you have that positional advantage and not giving it up willingly. And then also learning how to fight to maintain positional advantages that you gained when your opponent's trying to take it back. Not committing to high commitment moves like forward smashing, down smashing, and neutral when you can instead use something else. Yeah, overall, I still say that you're doing some good stuff. There were moments where you're playing the neutral properly. What I would need to see now is just doing that more often, right? Cleaning up the technical errors, understanding the neutral game well enough so that you're doing these things more on purpose, more often. The good things that you did in the game that I called out. And then building from there, right? Because even then, once you start doing these things more correctly, let's say you're no longer giving up space freely, well then you're going to start to encounter players who are challenging the space better. And that'll just be the next level, right? Of evolving your neutral. But overall, solid, and definitely a lot of good things to work with. All right, chat, in the interest of me getting some proper rest today, I'm going to call it. Thanks for watching. Peace. Good night. Thanks for the subs. Later. Kirby and Samus played similar? Okay. That is dog shit. Absolutely not true.